Cool.
Awesome. So thank you all for being here for the second kickoff call for the Designathon. Today's a beautiful day. We're kicking this thing off. We had a first call earlier, about 11 people there. These calls are not mandatory because this is meant for people around the world, but this is a great time to, ask some questions. We can talk over the structure a bit, maybe talk to some people about projects or see what people are working on, that type of thing. I have a little bit of an agenda, and I'll just go over that real quick if I can find it in my many tabs here. Basically, just a super quick round of intros, just one liner per person, then talk about the event as a whole a little bit, structures, key dates, then talk about prices. There were a lot of changes of prices in the last couple of days. There are always some questions around that. How to participate, and then we can kind of leave it open if people want to talk about projects they're excited about. Maybe you have some way you want to contribute, but you're not quite know which project it should be or so, these types of things. And then we can wrap it up. How does that sound? Sound good?
Sound good.
Cool. Then we'll start with the intros real quick. And I'm Christoph. I help organize this stuff and organize all kinds of things in Bitcoin design. And myself, and probably a bit of Eric and Mo and maybe PaperPsych, some of the organizers, Jason as well. We are here to support everyone. So if you have organizational questions, if you have anything about like, what should I do in my project, or we have some workshops planned, all this type of stuff will be by this group of people. So we're here to help. And I will just throw it to the next person, and then you do a quick intro, and then you can throw it to the next person after that. How about John? John A, since we have two
John A,
now.
all right. Hi, guys. Yeah. I am based out of Baltimore, Maryland in the United States. I'm a UX UI designer and worked on a few side projects related to Bitcoin on top of my main job, and excited to be here and get more involved.
Cool. Who's next?
I'll go. My name's Matt. I am a product manager by training. I spent a number of years at Google way back in the day, and more recently, co-founded a health tech startup. But I've a long time been interested in Bitcoin. Was an early participant in this Bitcoin design community, but kind of dropped out for a few years raising my kids. But I'm excited to be leaning back into the design community and contribute, and hopefully participate in at least a couple design projects over the next couple weeks. Nice to meet you all. And let me throw it. I'm going to throw it to. I'll pick someone at random. I'll throw it to Jason.
Hey, good morning. So my name is Jason. I am an accessibility engineer. I've been into Bitcoin since around 2013. I really dug in heavily in 2017 and beyond. I'll be helping out with the accessibility track for the Designathon. We have a couple of workshops that are planned. Intro workshop on Tuesday. We have a workshop for Bitcoin++ that we're going to be doing on Friday. Then we also have a few other events the following week. We have ABDC, the Austin Bitcoin Design Club event, where we're going to be allowing folks to do their design crits for their projects. And then we also have Global Accessibility Awareness Day on May 15th, where I'll be hosting 2 workshops and office hours. So I'm here to help out with anything related to accessibility. So reach out. And I'm going to go to John Herzog next.
Hey, Jason, do we have our cameras on or no?
I do, but you don't have to.
Let's see if we can do it this way. Hey, everybody, I'm John Herzog here. I am also an accessibility solutions engineer. Jason and I had the privilege of working together for about 7 years or so. And I'm here to help with the accessibility track on Bitcoin as well. I'll be doing some judging at the hackathon that's coming up. And I'll also be hanging out in the Discord at the accessibility chat room so I can help answer some of your questions. In full disclosure, I am a blind user, so I do use a screen reader, voiceover on the iPhone, and Windows and Mac, NVDA on Windows and things. So we've got a couple exciting presentations that we're working on for you guys, and can't wait to help answer any of your questions and explore some cool projects with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you know? Yeah, I don't know. Who's next in the list?
Okay, I'll just go next.
You want to go next? Okay.
Hi, I'm Timmy, based in Nigeria, and I was a fellow for the UX Bootcamp Africa for last year in Kenya, and I'm looking to just participate in the hackathon.
Cool. And who's next?
I'll go next. My name's Eric. I'm helping Christoph and some of the Bitcoin design community people organize this. And I'm also going to be hosting the Ecash workshop, the Designathon challenge, which we'll probably talk about later on in this call. So if you guys have any questions about Ecash or want any feedback on your projects, just holler at me. I will pass it to Aaron.
Hey guys, hey Christoph. So my name is Aaron. I'm from Goa in India. I run a Bitcoin education initiative and community here in Goa, and I also work with Plan B Network to help scale into the Indian subcontinent, basically. So I'm here. It's actually not me who's participating. There's a couple of people from our community here, but they couldn't make it to this call. So basically, they're going to be working on designing some educational content for helping onboard new users. I'll throw it to Emily.
Hey, I'm actually going to keep my camera off because I have some technical problems going on my end. But yeah, I've been working as a product manager and UX researcher for a few years now. And I actually am here mostly because I am interested in generally the topic. This is kind of like my first time really being in this space. I also did kind of want to jump on this call because I actually have been having a lot of trouble getting onto the Discord server. And so this doesn't have to be answered now, but I would love to get some assistance as to how to really jump into that space so I can better understand how I can contribute. But generally speaking, I've had a background in UX as well, so I am excited to help in any way.
Awesome. Do you want to pass it to who hasn't gone yet?
Oh, right. Sorry. Paper Psych? Oh, maybe they're away from their microphone. Asit?
Seat?
I think that's what I said, but I guess if... Oh, go ahead.
Can't hear you, but we see that you're toggling your mic on.
Yeah, if your audio doesn't work, you can also just leave a message in the chat real quick.
Sure.
How about we hop to the next one? How about Toby?
Hi everyone. Hi Christoph. Toby. I've been a part of the Bitcoin design community for a bit, joined a few calls, and I'm also a fellow from the Bitcoin Africa bootcamp that happened in Nairobi last year. So I'm here because I want to participate in the Designathon and try to come up with something creative and stuff. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Toby. How about Yashrash?
Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? My name is Yashraj, and I am a contributor to the Bitcoin design community. It's been a couple of years since I've been here, and I love the concept of a designathon. I participated in the last one. I redesigned the BTC Pay merchant website. It it was an awesome experience, and I can't wait to see what people do in this designathon.
Awesome. Thanks, Yashraj. And I think other than Asit and PaperPsych, we had everyone. If both of you want to say something, great. If not, also great. Then we'll just continue. Do I hear something from Asit? No? Okay, cool. Just raise your hand. And then we'll continue with the next step. So the first Designathon was fall or late 2022. And then February 2024, we said, we'll do another one. And now here we are 15 months later, and it's actually happening. The first one worked out pretty great. I think we had like 70 people sign up. We ended up with 20 projects. Some of the people that came out of the project, they went on to actually work as designers in the Bitcoin open source ecosystem and then went on to companies. Very cool to see. Some people did it just for fun and they had a good time. And here we are again. We have right now, I think, about 100 people signed up, about 10 projects registered so far. However, I don't think those numbers are necessarily representative of what's actually going to happen. The reality of hackathons always works out a little bit differently. So the Designathon is meant as a very communal, collaborative event. It's not a death match for prizes. It's just meant for people to openly work together on some stuff they find cool. It can be super technical. It can be super creative. It can be both. It's really, really wide open. It's meant to be a little bit of a counterpart to some of the more technical hackathons, right? So a little bit more open for people with other skill sets, I guess, and interests. So the key dates are, today's the kickoff, of course. Then we have May 18 is the final submission, so it's 2 weeks. The May 17th is the time, that's when it's time to submit projects by midnight that day. And then 18th, that's when the judges will evaluate everything. In the meantime, it's completely open to you how you want to work, completely flexible, because we know that there are a lot of different types of projects. People are spread all over the world. Then, you know, we just kind of want to provide a framework. Then it's up to you, just like it's in open source, individuals, the people to kind of gather together and just make things happen. And of course, we have a few organizers here to support everyone. I'm going to pull up the schedule here in my background real quick. And I do think that you've already heard about a few of the events. So the schedule, if you haven't seen it, it's at the bottom of the event website. So we have Sunday, May 4th. Today are the kickoffs. Tomorrow we have a penpot workshop that's very relevant to the open design track. Tuesday, we have UX research and accessibility workshops. And then, now I hear myself, then Wednesday, we have the Designathon Ecash workshop that Eric already mentioned. We're also thinking about having office hours / jam sessions where people can come in and just talk about their project, ask questions. We can give tips, guidance, all these things. Eric and I, we're going to figure something out there and then announce it once we've done that. Then next Tuesday, Jason already mentioned it, is the Austin Bitcoin Design Club live crit. I think 3 projects will have the chance to get a live crit from Sahil in Austin there. So time zone might be a little bit different, depends on where you are in the world, but that should be super helpful for projects. Then Thursday, as Jason mentioned, is the Global Accessibility Awareness Day. It's the 3rd time we're doing something for that one, Bitcoin design community. And this time it's like last time, the first 2 times, like Mo and I were doing little workshops, we're trying to invite people, kind of amateurish. Now with Jason, it's super professional. So I'm excited for that one. Yeah, and then it's already a Saturday and Sunday, time to wrap things up. That's it for the schedule. Did you have anyone had any questions around these things? They all pretty much happen in Jitsi. They're very, very casual. I think most of them are very interactive too. They're not like lessons where you just listen for an hour. Cool. Then we'll go about prices real quick because a lot of stuff has changed there. And I'm really excited about this because it really came together in the last few days. So let's give shout out to some of the sponsors. So we have Blockstream here. Blockstream does a ton of stuff. You may know the Blockstream Green software wallet, the Blockstream Jade, the hardware wallet. You may know that you can broadcast blocks over satellites. I think they have the Liquid sidechain. They have all kinds of products in and around Bitcoin. So very impressive, all the stuff that they do. Then we have the Here Comes Bitcoin store. They sell, probably know the Here Comes Bitcoin character that was just announced today. So they provide some swag for the different prices. Definitely check that out too. Then Plan B Network with Aaron here. They're sponsoring the accessibility track. Big thanks to those. Hopefully there'll be more collaborations with Plan B in the near future. And if you're ever looking to learn anything around Bitcoin, you can go there. They also do a lot of translations into different languages. So pretty cool. And PenPod is sponsoring some swag for the Open Design track. And then we have Gundlaf and OpenCash sponsoring the Ecash notes track. Eric, did you want to say anything about those?
Yeah, I could maybe just give just a little bit of context on the Ecash note stuff. So we have a workshop on Wednesday to go over it in more detail. But I just want to share real quick. Maybe it's a little bit more helpful if you guys actually see kind of what it is that contest is about. Is my screen visible?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what you're looking at here is the actual tool. It's called Burr. And you can run it right now, burr.ganloff.com. And I'll go over this in more detail in the meeting. But what this contest is about is designing an Ecash note, like what you're looking at here. And what this tool does is it lets you generate Ecash in the form of a paper note like this and then print it. So the purpose of this Ecash design a note is to quite literally design the note. So right now we have these two note designs. One was lovingly contributed by BitPopArt, who has these like very nice kind of cash illustrations here. And then the other one is this kind of more standard generic one. So we'll go over it in more detail, but yeah, the design a note is very much focused on making this physical paper Ecash note better and letting your creative kind of energy take it wherever you see fit.
Very cool. Thanks, Eric. So we have, so you've noticed we have these best overall prices, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The way that those are, I guess, distributed is that we have a set of judges. They're going to review every project that is being submitted. They have 6 categories or so, which you can find at the bottom of the page under how our prize is awarded. So innovation, Bitcoin integration, open design, execution, UX, UI design, and je ne sais quoi. Awesome. Great, Emily, that you're in. And so there'll be like rating 1 to 10 on each of those. Okay, they get added up. The project with the highest points is then overall the best one. So that's the logic there for the prices 1 to 6. Now projects can also participate in tracks. They don't have to. You can be just part of 1 track or 2 tracks, or also apply to overall. Like it's possible to overlap there. We have these individual tracks which have their own judging criteria. So Jason's leading up the accessibility one, Ecash notes that will be Eric and Gundlaf, I think. And open design, we're gonna have to figure that one out still. Yeah, there was in the call earlier today, there were some questions around, how these prices, the general prices relate to the individual tracks. Are there any questions right now around those? Well, good. You can also use the raise the hand feature there if anything comes up. So yeah, shout out, big thanks to all the sponsors. I think it's pretty awesome what we accumulated there, and I think it's nice that it's a mixture of different things, right? It shows that it's kind of really community effort where we got these different companies and entities contributing in different ways. May look a little bit messy, but I think it's a nice sign that it's a communal effort. Next is, I guess just one note, the prizes are not, like I said earlier, the prizes are not to turn this into some death match or so. They're ideally just like a bonus, a thank you for all the effort and the contributions. Next step is a participation, and we have this participation doc. You may have already seen this. Doesn't allow me to share right now. Let me try this again. I'll share this participation doc. You can also get to it from the website. Sharing that real quick. It talks about, the whole structure of submitting project ideas, joining projects, organizing a project. And now that we're in this kickoff phase, which can be a little bit messy the first few days. So the people who start a project, it's great if they have a solid description of how they imagine this project, and also if they set up a communication channel. So that's the communication channel. It can be, if you want us to create a dedicated Discord channel, that's cool. We can set that up. If you have a separate Telegram, one of the guys set up a completely new Discord for the project already earlier. I put that in the project description, shared it in our Discord. All that stuff makes it much easier for other people to find, what the project's about, and then to kind of check in and see who's there and, figure out if they want to participate on it and have conversations. So I think that's kind of a big thing here in the first, few days to set that up. And it makes for the people who maybe not sure what project they want to participate on, but they know they want to do something, might make it much easier to then dig in and chip in. And then, you can set up a project call, or if everyone's spread around the world, you can find a different way to communicate. Looking at the projects, I think I've already mentioned it. We have, 10 projects. I also created, posted in the Discord Designathon channel, a quick list of all of them and the people who register for each of them. It's not a comprehensive list, but it's a starting point. So take a look at those and just see what you want to do. And if you don't find something, but you want to do something different, start your own. You just use the start a project button up there. Then I'll get an email, I'll review it real quick, put it live. Any questions around the project stuff? You can work by yourself. You can invite lots of other people. It's completely flexible. I think an important thing is just that, it's transparency, building in public, working in public is really important. For one, it's just more fun. You get better ideas, you get better feedback. And it also makes it so much easier for the judges in the end to evaluate the whole thing, because they can kind of see the history of what happened. They can really judge the effort. Maybe a little bit uncomfortable if you're not used to working that way, but it's pretty awesome. So just kind of try to be uncomfortably public with the way you work. And then that's typically the right amount. Any questions around that stuff?
Maybe just a comment on that and why the working in public thing is so important, because for the Designathon, if you are going to be working on an existing project and there's already been work done, the judgment is going to be based on the stuff that you've done basically during the 2 weeks. So if you work in public and there's like a very clear Git history or on Discord, there's a very clear kind of back and forth chain. It's a lot easier to see, okay, this is what was done during the 2 weeks of the Designathon.
Yeah, good one. And it's sharing stuff early, ideas, even if you feel like they're totally unpolished or whatnot, makes it easier for other people maybe come in and kind of, like, especially if it's an existing project, like the maintainer to come in and say, yeah, we already kind of figured this out. Maybe you should just think about this way or that way. It's great for course correction in that regard. And then it helps ensure that what you end up at the end is some, a worthwhile contribution that maybe wasn't already done before in a slightly different, similar way. Paper just posted his update. Awesome, read that one. And just wanted to point out, we have a lot of resources. The community, Bitcoin design community, has been around for 5 years. Some very experienced people around there. We have the whole Bitcoin design guide. We have a Bitcoin UI kit, Bitcoin icon set, Bitcoin UX research kit. All of those are available to you. They're really great foundations, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel from scratch. You can even ask AI to tell you, like, hey, is there anything about this in the Bitcoin design guide? If you don't want to look yourself. That actually works pretty well. And ask questions about anything. Everyone's very, very open with sharing and responding to things. It's really a power up to have all these things available. I think that's kind of my spiel here. Next thing I was going to look at, I want to see if anyone here wants to pitch their project or pitch their idea or just say what they want to work on and if they're looking for a project or so. All right, we got an update here from Asit real quick. Working on Bitcoin Beacon, an ambient tabletop lamp. Helps you track price movements without. Oh, wow.
Cool, some
It's like,
hardware integration there.
It's going to flicker green and red. Is that the idea?
That's really cool.
Awesome. Yeah. Are you, Asit, are you planning to register this as a project for the Designathon? Nice one. Sounds dangerous too. You have this lamp on your table and you're like, it's flickering, it freaks you out. Awesome. Yeah. Any other? Asit, feel free to share more about how you, if you're thinking about, working on this part of the Designathon. And then anyone else wants to chat about a project?
I'd love to just quickly describe the projects that I have in mind, if that's okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, so I submitted 2 projects. The first one is, what did I call it? I call it Rebasing Bitcoin. And this is not a new idea, but rather it's kind of taking, I think of it as taking the baton from John Carvalho and others who have proposed a change to the way that we refer to the base unit of Bitcoin. I think most Bitcoiners on this call will be familiar with the term Satoshis, but John proposes that we eliminate the word Satoshi and Sats and rather think of those base units as Bitcoin. And so, obviously that's a very controversial change. It kind of upends how we currently think about Bitcoin. But I think if you think about it from first principles, I think there's a good case that can be made. He's written a very detailed BIP. BIP 177 describes his argumentation. Steve Lee did a great job of defending it on a podcast as well. I feel persuaded by it. But I'm also very cognizant of the uphill battle that will be required to kind of convince the Bitcoin community that this is the right way forward. But thus is the kind of like messy nature of Bitcoin and consensus building. And so I view this project as an interesting opportunity to use design, the design community, design thinking, design assets to help form the consensus building process in Bitcoin. And so I'd kind of like, anyone who has kind of reviewed the material and feels similarly persuaded that this is a good way forward, I would love to bring those people together to just think about all the ways in which we might use design to help make the case better, and kind of convince the world that this is the right way forward. So that's one project. The other project, very different, but I mentioned in the chat that I am planning to participate in the Presidio Bitcoin hackathon that is actually starting up at the tail end of this Designathon. So it actually kind of dovetails nicely. But in preparation for that hackathon, I've been thinking about the question, okay, let's say I want to build an app that uses Bitcoin in some way. And I imagine that there's going to be a lot of developers that are thinking about it similarly. How might we use kind of Bitcoin to power up our experiences, to create better experiences, new experiences online? There's a fairly common problem, which is that we want the user to be able to bring their Bitcoin. and use their Bitcoin in the app. And I don't think if you're using N different apps and N different experiences, you don't want to have N different wallets within the apps. You probably want one wallet that the different application experiences can draw from. And so I was thinking about that problem, and I came across a protocol called NWC, Nostr Wallet Connect, which seems like the way to go and do this. And I have actually tried this with Albi Hub, and they facilitate it, and it all kind of works, but I wouldn't describe it as janky, but I think there's the opportunity to make that whole experience better. And I'd love to bring together some designers to kind of walk through the current day experience of doing that and think about ways that we might be able to improve that experience. Because I think this is going to become a very common problem. How do we connect our wallets to various different application experiences online? It's going to be a big problem, and I think we can bring some design thinking to help improve it. So I'd love to gather some designers to think about that problem and do some good. So those are the two projects that I have in mind to work on and help facilitate over the next 2 weeks.
Awesome.
Are you still there, Krista?
I'm still there. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it. I'm just giving it, like this moment of silence until it just gets uncomfortable enough that someone starts talking.
Letting it marinate.
Yeah. How's everyone else doing? Anything else you're excited about? Or maybe it's something, even if you don't want to work on it, something that you think is cool that you'd like to see happen.
I was actually curious. So that intro that Matt did was really cool. I was wondering if all the other project owners are here too, because I'd love to hear the background and kind of the backstory of all the existing projects, because it'll at least help me decide like which one to kind of go into, since I don't have any background info on them yet. So just wanted to say thank you to Matt and see if anybody else wants to explain their projects.
So I posted the so in our Airtable where those submissions from all these different forms end up, I can see who submitted them. For Ecash designs, I think it was Bitpop Art, which I don't think is here. For Proof of Brush, it was Nandini, who was in the earlier call. For Bit Terms, it was Umar, who was in the earlier call. Bidifun, it was Sadiq, who was in the earlier call. Rebasing Bitcoin, we had Matt. Bittable was Margaret, was also in the earlier call. Safe Bits as well. Bit4Kit was Maxime, which I don't think was in the earlier call, but I don't think is here either. So the earlier call already covered a bunch of those people. But which ones, are there any ones that you think that you'd like to hear about from here?
Nothing specific. I was just kind of curious about hearing like whoever submitted them, like what they're about. I clicked on a few and tried to read the more info, but I just really enjoyed Matt's explanation, so I was just curious if anybody else is going to do that or not. But I'm guessing not all the project creators are present on this call.
Yeah, and it's it might not be possible to get on all these different calls with all the different time zones.
Yeah.
So it in case anything looks interesting, just reach out on Discord. Just ask people, start those public conversations.
Okay, I'm trying to understand one thing. So like the Ecash notes that Eric was presenting, that doesn't look like it's a project itself. So like, is that not something that you can join?
So that is a track, right? And you can make a project for the track. There is one. I think this Ecash Designs project here is meant to be based on that.
I thought it was a little bit different. I thought this was more of just a general marketing kind of fun promo. I mean, maybe, yeah. I'd have to ask the people what they have in mind.
Yeah, John, you can also just create one. Just submit it, share it, see if anyone wants to join, see what happens. I think it's a cool project, especially if you kind of dig into the history of money design and try to get some inspiration from there, or even try to take that classic bill design and project it into the future somehow with kind of all the opportunities that dynamic the dynamics of screens provide us. I think it's pretty cool. Excited to see what happens there.
I'm curious because a few people mentioned some hackathons. Are there any projects that are going to be used maybe like later on in an actual hackathon where there's going to be developers building stuff? Like, are we doing anything that helps out kind of any, because a lot of these projects kind of seem like they're um, not attached to like a lot of products out there right now. Are there any that maybe I might have missed that's like actively getting developed or is planning to get developed maybe at like a hackathon or something?
So SafeBits is based on the Bitcoin Safe project, which there's no link in here. That link should really be added. I can add that one later. Then there's another idea here around redesigning npub.cash. I think, Eric, you added that one.
Yeah, I added that one, and there's a thread actually on Discord in the last call when we shared that some people got kind of excited about it, and they're kind of forming a small group to tackle it. But yeah, this is a real project that is live. It's in code. It's functional. People use it. A high level like overview about what exactly this is. It basically gives anyone with a Nostr account or a Nostr public key an Ecash wallet. So what that means is, for those that are unfamiliar with Nostr, it's a protocol where you could relay messages, and kind of like Bitcoin, you get a public key and a private key with Nostr, and your public key is open and accessible to everyone. And with npub.cash, anyone can just pull up any Lightning wallet, Strike, Wallet of Satoshi, Phoenix, and they can just copy and paste your npub and then type at npub.cash at the end and just send it over like a Lightning address. And then this uses a protocol on the backend to convert those sats into Ecash. And now when a user goes to npub.cash and they sign in using their Nostr private key, their Ecash is there, safe, waiting for them to claim. So it's kind of this way to basically send money to anyone without the receiver having to set anything up. They don't have to download a Bitcoin wallet. They don't have to even be aware that Bitcoin even exists, and you can still throw the money, and then that money is safely locked up in a place where only they can access it. And what this project is about is redesigning that experience. So if you look at the current site that Christoph has displayed right now, it's there. It kind of works. I think it was very much designed by a developer, so it's maybe missing a little bit of kind of wow factor. And when you run through the process of kind of claiming some of this Ecash with your Nostr key, you can maybe find areas where the experience can be tightened up. And that's what kind of this redesign is about, and this project here.
That's a very cool project. Thanks for explaining that, Eric.
Yeah. If I could just briefly add, one of the things that's really cool about this is that it also works totally offline, in the sense that you can just, because it's using Nostr on the background, whenever you just send money to someone's npub.cash, it'll be stored, and there's no need for that user to be like online on their Nostr profile or anything like that.
So when I click on that on the website, it says create project. Does that mean it's not a project for the Designathon yet?
The npub.cash one?
Yeah.
Yeah, there hasn't been a formal kind of project created on the website, but on Discord, there is a thread where a couple hours ago, some people were kind of looking at it and then discussing working on it. So maybe that's actually something that Christoph and I can do, is we can make this, put this explicitly under the project section, and then kind of loop in the people that are tackling this. And I'm happy to tag you in the thread as well, John. And if you want to jump on a call and go over npub.cash in more detail, I'm happy to do that as well.
Yeah, I'd love to. That seems pretty cool to me. I'd like to join that one. My only concern was like I don't want to join something where there's no, like, if I'm not familiar with it, right? I would like to kind of work under someone else's kind of guidance, especially if I'm not familiar with it. I mean, what you just explained, like I have enough basic knowledge on Nostr and Ecash enough that what you said on a high level makes perfect sense. But it'd still be nice to like work with other people and not just be like the solo person trying to do it, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that spirit of collaboration is kind of like what we're trying to capture with the Designathon. And hopefully this is like a chance for all of us. At least speaking for myself as a designer, I'm often kind of feel like I'm on my own island. So let's hope that like we can maybe use this to encourage us to be a little bit more collaborative with such a tight timeline and focus goal.
Yeah. So do you should I find that you said was this its own channel on the or it's within Designathon channel?
It's in Designathon. There's a thread. I'll tag you in it and introduce you to the thread because it's a bit in the middle right now. But I'll tag you in there right now.
Okay. Yeah, my username is Johnny Boy on Discord.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Just to add one more thing, there's also another project. Zeus redesign was proposed. There was some discussion around it. I don't think anyone's dedicated to working on a project on that. I spoke with Evan, who runs Zeus. They are definitely planning to do a redesign before they launch their version 1. Not entirely sure when that's coming up, that version 1, but there basically means he's open to design improvements, which is great. He also, a long time ago, he did sponsor actually Accessibility Bounty, and he's just been in and around the design community, so he's a good guy there. So if some people want to, I don't know, rally around that one, it'd be pretty cool too. And then I saw Asit just shared. Aaron also wants to participate. How about we give Asit real quick the chance to go over his project, because he actually shared a presentation here, which I'm going to pull up.
Ooh.
Asit, do you want to get on unmute and talk about it, or should we just kind of briefly look at it and form our own perspective on it? So this looks like a project presentation, tabletop lamp with 4 LED lights. Goal is to build a prototype. Physical prototype is a little bit difficult with when people are spread all over the world, right? For a remote event, but there's probably still a lot that can be done. Okay, you're looking to build a mobile app as well.
Some electrical engineering skills. Very nice.
Oh yeah.
Something I do not know anything about. Very cool. Okay, mic's not working. Please add comments. Okay, so anyone feel free to hop in there, add comments. See it maybe also share it in the Discord. Just give it a little, and then the chat can happen from there, and you can kind of see what happens. Yeah, thanks for sharing that one. Very cool. All right, then it was Aaron. You took your hand down.
Yeah, hey. So I just played around with the Ecash printer tool, and it is a lot of fun. It's so cool.
Nice.
So that's Eric. You're the developer behind this?
No, the developer is Ganloff. Different person, but they are also aware that this is happening, and they're really, really excited about getting the word out on here. But I'm pretty familiar with the tool, so I'm happy to, answer any questions or hear your impressions.
Yeah. So for the track, for the track that's like building projects around that, there's an artist in our community who is like a little bit passionate about Bitcoin as well. And I think she would find this really cool. But besides, other than the art side of things, she's not really too well versed with anything on the tech side. So would there be support from somebody from Gandalf's team, or how would that work if she had to contribute?
Yeah, so even I think this challenge actually lends itself nicely to the very like traditional kind of designer, and by that I mean maybe somebody that's more skilled in craft and visual design, and maybe not like so much of a hardcore Bitcoiner. In the sense where they could just kind of come in, do some research, get some understanding for what this is, and then like go back and trace the history of the design language of money, and also the design language of Bitcoin, and how Bitcoin has been used in the past in physical formats, and then come up with like a compelling visual design. So even though this person doesn't have any tech skill, in terms of where that they can kind of still basically fit for this challenge, at a high level, the design, in order for it to work with the tool, is the only requirement is that it has to be SVG compatible. So if they're already an illustrator and they're already a digital artist, they should already be familiar with SVG formats. Am I frozen, by the way?
Nope, you're
Yeah.
good.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
good. Okay. So yeah, if they're an illustrator and a digital artist, they're probably already familiar with SVG and vector formats. So that's really kind of the only technical knowledge requirement. In terms of implementation, both Ganloff and I are happy to show, if you are a little bit more technical, to show exactly where in the code the SVG file lives, so that you can actually modify it, and then we can run your own version of it locally, and you can actually see what the note will look like on the machine. So yeah, we're here to help an artist at basically any level actually get involved with this challenge. I think the barrier to entry is really quite low. Does that
That's awesome.
answer your question?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's super cool to hear. Yeah, so I'll get this person probably in touch with you somehow.
Yeah, and I'll drop a. There's actually an issue in the Bitcoin design community meta GitHub where this is a little bit more specced out. So I'll drop that into the chat in just a couple seconds, so that you and everyone else can kind of look at it.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
I'm digging it up, Eric.
Cool. I almost found it.
This one.
Yes.
I think. Cool. All right, so we have about 10 minutes left here on the call. We don't have to take it if we don't want to. I'm through with my agenda here. Just got some final things like collaboration over competition, learn, grow together, have fun, have a good time, start exploring. And especially in those first few days, just don't be shy. Poke around different projects. This is where everyone's kind of looking around for, what they want to do and maybe what the other people are up to. So just feel comfortable reaching out to everyone. Feel comfortable reaching out to me or for Jason around accessibility, for Eric around the Ecash stuff. And then other than that, we'll can just leave it up for questions or a conversation for a few minutes.
Yeah, I also just wanted to mention that there's some really interesting accessibility projects that have been submitted already, and I've been creating a universal design guide for Bitcoin accessibility. So feel free to use that if you're not going to be able to make it to the workshop on Tuesday. I was going to introduce that. I just posted it in the chat. But really, it's a guide for designers and developers in this Designathon and in the BC++ hackathon, as well as Bitcoin 2025 hackathons. And I'm hoping to get some design guidance here because I'm not a designer. I'm an accessibility engineer by trade. So please feel free to make any comments, suggestions, pull requests, issues, and I'd be very happy to incorporate anything that makes sense. And if you want to use this as part of starting point for any of these projects related to accessibility, you're more than welcome to take it and run with it as well.
Awesome. Yeah, and you mentioned the Bitcoin 2025 hackathon, which is also happening right now. We invited that whole hackathon, all those participants also to take part in this Designathon or just join the workshops and all this stuff. It's all very communal and open, so maybe we'll see some people hop in there as well. I think they have around 400 people signed up. B25.devpost.com. That's where that event lives.
Hey, I just had one quick question. The npub.cash redesign project sounds really interesting. I wasn't actually familiar with npub.cash previously, so I've just been reading up on it a little bit. It looks fascinating. Do you know if anyone's contacted the main dev behind that project?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I know them pretty well. I contacted them on Signal a couple hours ago, but they haven't responded. Sunday, maybe they're off. But yeah, because I want to kind of let them know that this is actively happening and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, not just, it would be great to have their involvement and embrace of it if possible. Anyway, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll hear from them shortly. And yeah, I'll invite them to the Discord as well.
Awesome. And now it's up to you to choose your own adventure. It's in your hands. And that's pretty much how it works in open source anyways. A little bit scary sometimes, a little bit ambiguous, but it's pretty awesome.
Right. Let me just say thank you to you, Christoph, and the other organizers. It's wonderful, to be able to participate in such an event, and I know how much hard work goes into putting on such a thing. So thank you for getting this kicked off and organized, and look forward to participating.
You're welcome. And thanks for mentioning that. So yeah, I'm going to stop the stream right now. For anyone watching this, thanks for tuning in.